Okay. Good morning, students. It's about 11 in the morning on Sunday. And as I'm getting ready to think about your next week and what we're going to learn about, I can't help but think about what we really need to talk about and really going on in our country right now. So, today we're going to do a digital circle. Um, there's going to be points where you have to stop and respond to different questions. Obviously, it's not going to be like our normal circle where we can kind of um, take what someone says and kind of keep going with it, but this is the new era that we live in. So we're going to make do because this is a very important topic that we need to talk about. So, our current events that we're going to talk about today is Black Lives Matter, what's been going on. I chose this picture because it's of students, it's of African American students who are holding these signs that say Black Lives Matter. And it's true, Black Lives Matter. And there is so much going on in our country right now, that so much hate, so much racism towards a group of people and it's just not right. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let me go to the next slide. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, so check in really quick. I want you to check in. You're going to have a chance to respond in a second. 1 to 5, how are you doing? And then tell me, have you been watching what's going on across the country? Have you been watching the news? Are you seeing the protests? Um, Let me know what you've seen. So, for those of you who haven't been up to date on what's happening on the news, George Floyd was murdered. This is an African American man. He used a fraudulent bill, so that means that he used a fake money to try to purchase something at a store. The police were called, and then excessive force was used on him, and he died when he was being arrested. Because of that, there have been protests across the country. More than 30 US cities are protesting right now. And here's a little clip that we can watch to kind of give you an overview for those who haven't seen what's going on, and for those of you who have to. So all of this is happening because the death of George Floyd and the killing of other Black people. Demonstrations have broken out in more than 30 US cities.
I'm tired of my black men and my black women being shot, being killed by the NYPD. I'm tired of it. I have 3 black men in my home. I'm tired. I am tired.
So you can see vehicles are being lit on fire. Protesters and police clashed outside of the White House in Washington, D.C. In Minneapolis, where George Floyd died, police fired rubber bullets and tear gas at protesters. This isn't the only place that the police have fired rubber bullets and tear gas.
Small number of people in the scheme of things protesting to begin with. Very few of whom committed acts of violence, but that few were systematic in their efforts to harm police officers and to create damage to police vehicles, to storefronts, to other property. And again, that's not going to get us anywhere. But now it is time for people to go home.
So some cities have declared curfews, like the city of Los Angeles Saturday night had a curfew, and I believe they might be having a curfew again on Sunday. But unbelievable. So that's what's going on right now, if you didn't already know. Now we're gonna take a second to think. I'm gonna move this really quickly so you can see my image. Can you think of a time that you've been treated a certain way because of the color of your skin? And we can extend that. Maybe you've been treated a certain way because of your gender, maybe because you're a boy or a girl. Maybe you're treated a certain way because of your income, your family's income, whether your family bring in a lot of money or your family um, doesn't have a lot of money. But really, more than anything, I want you to think about a time when you've been treated differently because of your um, the color of your skin. And if you haven't had this, let me know that too, um, because that's important as well. Today, I have a poem for us, and it's called I Too. I'm going to read it for you. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to the kitchen. They send me to eat in the kitchen. When company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen, then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. Langston Hughes. So I'm going to read it one more time through. This is written by an African American poet. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen. When company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen. Then, besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. Langston Hughes. So think right now, what feelings do you think the poet was feeling in the poem? So think about the person who wrote the poem. How do you think they're feeling? It mentions having to go eat in the kitchen. And it mentions how, you know, they'll see how beautiful I am. So think about how the poet feels. Or tell me, how does this poem make you feel? How does it make you feel hearing that an African American has to go eat somewhere different than where the company is, than where everybody else is? I want you to tell me how you feel about this poem. The poet talks about the darker brother, okay? And the darker brother he uses that stands for all African American people. What do you think or know about how our country is treating people of color? So, what do you think about how our country is treating people of color? Or what do you know about how our country is treating people of color? And specifically, like with specifically Black people, I know many of us live in the Latino communities, and I think we could speak to that as well. How Latinos are being treated in our country. Um, so you can talk to that as well, but also think about how are Black people being treated in our country today, and I want you to respond to that. The last thing we'll be talking about, I'm going to move myself one more time, is what can we do to make things better for Black people in our community, in our class, at our school, in our city, or even our country. What can we do? So, you know what I can do? And it's what I'm doing right now. As a teacher, I'm taking the time to talk to you about this. I could easily not say anything. That's a lie. It wouldn't be easy for me to not say anything. It'd be very hard because you guys know that when I feel very strongly about something, I'm going to speak up for it. It's wrong the way that Black people have been treated in our communities, in our country, in our city. I would say that in my class and at our school. I would say that we treat them with respect, we treat them as equals. But what can we do? And what I'm doing right now is I'm talking to you about it. That's what I'm doing. I'm also making it known that I don't think this is okay. I'm letting Black people know that I stand with them and I'm standing up for them. A lot of the things that we do, you know, they can be small. It doesn't have to be a big grand gesture, but think about what you can do to make them feel part of our country. Because right now, I'm sure they're not feeling like part of our country. It really, really, really makes me sad that we are so divided still. That how many years ago we battled slavery, civil rights movements, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and we are still here today in 2020 trying to fight for equal rights for African Americans. Not only that, but so many people too. Immigrants, women, so many people are still fighting for equal rights. And it's up to you guys and girls to make a change because this is where you're going to live. This is your world. At the end of the day, you need to stop and think about that. How do you want it? Okay? All right, I'm going to move myself one more time. Um and this is really hard. It's hard to have this conversation. It's hard to have it digitally. It's hard to not be in person with you guys to do this. But thank you for participating in this digital dialogue. Thank you for always letting me talk to you guys about these serious topics and coming to the class and being serious because I know that this can't sit well with you. You are smart. You know right from wrong, and it's now time that you stand up for things that you see are not right. So this is the last picture I'm going to focus on. It's the picture of 20 unarmed, that means without weapons, unarmed men, women, and children of color killed by law enforcement since 2012. Let's look at these people. These people now, they didn't have any weapons on them, you know, and their lives were taken from them. And were the people who took their lives punished? I don't know. Some of them, yes. Some of them, no, unfortunately. Okay. After this, there's one more video I have for you to please watch all the way through. We are finishing our last week of school. I hope that all of you are really involved or thinking about what's going on in the country. And if you have questions, ask them. And if you don't know who to ask, know that you can always ask me. You can ask teachers, okay? You can ask people in your family too, wherever whoever you feel comfortable talking to. But just know that the things that going on aren't okay and that it's going to take all of us to speak up to make a change and make a positive change. Have a good day.